Hello Whitby and happy June. It's June 2022, so you know what that means. The May 2022 numbers are in, and today I want to break those all down with you as we do each and every month on this channel. So if you checked out my GTA monthly wrap up, which I'm going to link up in this corner over here, you will see that I put some fancy new charts together. I promised them. So stick with me on the other side of this intro and we'll dive into those numbers. Hey everybody, it's Rob Marsiglio back here once again with your May 2022 recap, seeing what happened in the Whitby real estate market. I dove into what's going on with mortgage rates in my GTA monthly update, so I'm going to put it back up in this corner one more time. You can just go click on that once you're done this video, or now if you want to pause this one just to see what is happening with rates and how is that affecting affordability all across Canada really. But again, this video, it's all about the town of Whitby. It's all about your housing. So let's dive right into those numbers, starting with the detached market. Okay, everybody, as promised, fancy new charts. So you can see this is going to be the format for the detached and the townhomes. First, we're starting with detached listings, months at the bottom here. The blue line represents what's happening in 2022 so far, and this red line is for 2021, and you can kind of see what's happening last year versus this year. So far, we outpaced the market for new listings from last year in January and in April. But as you can see, May, we were down, about 30 listings from last year at this time. And year to date, we're down about 100 listings, last February, last March. While they were crazy this year as well in terms of prices, the activity really picked up. We actually peaked out in new listings in March last year. So not quite seeing those that same new listing activity. And again, as I've alluded to in other videos, these new listings are actually a little inflated. And this next kind of chart is going to show you just what I mean and by just how much these listings are inflated. So this here's the breakdown of our suspended and terminated listings, and you can compare again 2022 to 2021. So year to date, you're seeing we're actually up 51.25% in suspended and terminated. So the assumption here is that a lot of these listings have come back onto the market and they'll be registered as a new listing 2 times in the month. As you can see, we had 143 suspensions and terminations. This is just on the detached side versus 80 for the same month last year. It's actually down from where we were in April, just a little bit. But you can see, again, you're seeing the big separation now in 2022. And this gap represents a lot of listings that have come back on the market that are really inflating the numbers that we saw on this chart right here. So realistically, if it was just purely new listings, sure, this red line is going to be inflated a bit as well because we had suspensions and terminations last year, but this blue line is really inflated relative to the red line. I'm hopping to the middle of the screen now. Again, I can't show you the addresses, so I've had those blocked out, but these are just examples, two examples of properties that were relisted 4 times in May for this property in the Rolling Acres area. So that's kind of east, north a bit more in Whitby. So it was listed again close to 1.3, then they did a price reduction after a week, another price reduction after a week. This was probably an offer night situation here where they tried to get a number, and then they raised the price back up to maybe what they thought was a little more realistic for this 4-bed, 4-bath, 2-story home in Rolling Acres. Down here, this is a bungalow in downtown Whitby, and you can see they kind of went the other way with it. They started with the offer night scenario. I guess they didn't get the number they wanted, so they raised the price up to what they thought was kind of more market value, maybe more their expectations, what they wanted. Didn't happen again after about 2 weeks on the market, so they relisted a 3rd time in May. And you can see this by the contract date here, so the 5th, the 11th, and the 27th. Now they're back on the market at 1.25 million. So just between these 2 listings alone, that is 7 new listings for the month of May. That's only really 2 properties reflecting those big numbers. How about sales on the detached side? So again, we outpaced the market in January, early in 2022. Prices, we all know what kind of happened in February, but then sales have started to taper off, and you can see the massive spread between the number of sales in March of last year versus March this year. April, the same thing. The gap shrunk a little bit, and then even though we didn't change very much month to month this year, that gap really did increase from last year at this time. So again, 218 sales last May versus 137 this May. Year to date, last year we had 953 sales by the end of May. This year, 655. So we are down 31.27%. If you watched my previous video again with the GTA recap, you're going to know that that 30% number, pretty much across the board, that's been the average that different regions at least have been down when you're taking that big bird's eye view of an entire market. So not surprised to see sales down 31.27%, even though, listings were only down 7.53%. How did that all shake down in prices? So again, 2022 versus 2021, by the end of the year last year, you can see the big jump that kind of happened between December of 2021 to January, kept increasing up to around that 1.5 number for a detached home, the median sale price, and we're all the way down to $1,080,000. So last year at this time, $1,035,000 was the median sale price, $1,080,000 this year. If we just follow this trajectory, by the time I'm recording this kind of end of the first week of June, we may have already eclipsed, going into the negative year over year for a detached home in Whitby. I think we kind of knew this was going to happen just watching this trajectory. If you just follow this line down, it looks, sometime in June, we will be back below the year over year gains. As of right now, we're up 4.3% year over year, but we are down 12.2% from the month of April. It's almost officially less expensive to buy a detached home in Whitby this year than it was last year. Now, I know the majority of people are not day traders when it comes to real estate. You're not buying to hold for, a few months and then sell like you would maybe a stock. I want to give these numbers just to give everybody a realistic idea of what is happening with the market, how rates, how different market factors are affecting prices in Whitby. If you bought your home 5 years ago, we can run those numbers way back for you to tell you just how much you are still up. But you're not realizing those gains or losses unless you have to sell, you have to move. So again, just to paint a picture, what is happening in the market right now? Where are we month over month? Where are we year over year? Is it a good time for people looking to come into town to buy? That's kind of what we're diving into right now. Okay, now we all know, if you've watched the channel before, our market drivers in Whitby are detached by a big chunk. That's the vast majority of the business. The second biggest market, though, would be the freehold townhomes. So let's see what happened 2021 versus 2022. So you can see, again, year to date, we're actually up 5.38% in new listings year to date. We actually outpaced last year's numbers, 81 this year versus 69 last year in the same month. More in April, more in March, slightly less in February, but more in January as well. So you can just see how this has trended. That being said, you've learned by now that these numbers can be a little misleading, because take a look at the difference in suspended and terminations for townhomes. So I have a feeling a lot of these people are ones that were trying to cash in based on what we saw townhomes doing price-wise earlier in the year. But you can see that we are up almost 100% in suspended and terminated listings on the townhome side. So it's no surprise really that the new listings number appears to be more than what we saw last year. In reality, less properties have probably hit the market this year than last year, but just more listings. It's kind of more of those repeat listings over and over again. Because if you look at the sales numbers, we're, down 27% in total sales year to date. And we've been down from each month last year going back to February. January outpaced a little bit, but again, these sales numbers have stayed down below where they were in 2021. As for the median price of a townhome compared to last year, again, let's do that same exercise where if we extend this line out, and who knows, maybe this line will go more dramatically down, maybe it will stay level kind of thing. But if we're just following this path, I'd say it looks like maybe July, August sometime is when this, call it a break-even point, is going to be when we get into the negative year over year. As of right now, we are still up 11.5% year over year in terms of prices, although we are down from the month before by 4.7%. A quick note on months of inventory compared to the April numbers, we're holding about steady for months of inventory on the detached side, and on the townhome side, we're actually down just a little bit. We have about a month of inventory on the townhome side and just over a month of inventory on the detached side. We're not diving too in depth into the stats for the semis this month. We just want to go over the kind of the median sale price. And again, you can see the effects that a smaller market has on median sale prices. So you don't see nearly as many sales or as many listings when it comes to semis compared to townhomes or detached homes. And you can just see how this number really fluctuates based on a small sample size. So we are still up, if you look compared to last year, 36% year over year. We're down 9.6 from the month before. But this median sale price being 1.075 versus it was 1.08 for detached homes, it just tells me that, you know, some nicer semis sold this past month. I'm not too kind of concerned. I think if we look back at this, maybe even at the halfway point of the year, and we do a comparison or a straight quarterly comparison for Q1 and Q2 compared to last year, that'll kind of give us a better idea as to where the values truly are for the semi-detached side of things. Same as with your condo apartments. So we are up 38.5% year over year. We are down 7.5% from April of 2022. In condo towns, it's actually the only market segment where we're down year over year compared to last year. So 640,000, we're down big time from April. Again, this number could bounce back up. These lines are a little more volatile just because it's lower volume being done in these market segments. One trend I do want to highlight is our sold to list price ratio. And so you can see each of these bars represent the detached townhomes, semis, condo towns, or apartments. And I just want to show you, again, if everything's sold at 1, that would mean that listing prices are truly reflective of what properties are selling for. You can see back in February how far above this line everything was selling. So everything was selling way over asking. All I want to highlight is that the trend across all segments since February has been downwards. The last two things to wrap up this month's numbers are going to be our showings per new listing and our offers per new listing, again, just to get an idea of where the market is moving. So you can see back in January, hot market, almost 32 showings per new listing. February, down almost 27% to 23.3. March, down to 17.2. That's a drop of 26%. Down to 15.4 in April. That was a drop of 10.5%. We're actually up about 3% in May. So, maybe the showings activity, I don't know if it's bottomed out quite yet, but I think for now, this is maybe a pace we're going to see for the next little bit until it tails off a bit more into the summer. And same thing on the offers per new listing sides. Way back in January, it doesn't seem like a high number, but remember, we're lumping in any property that didn't get offers as well. It wouldn't have been strange to see 25, 30 offers on a property back in January, even back in February, but you can see very much similar trends to showings. As showings have gone down, offers have come down throughout the year, but they seem to have maybe kind of leveled off from April to May of this year. I hope this has been a valuable breakdown of everything that happened in Whitby real estate for May of 2022. Remember, keep staying tuned to my weekly updates where I'll put out the numbers each and every week for you. I'm working on compiling all this data in one place as well, kind of on a free subscription basis if people want to see the numbers each week as I am updating them. Please subscribe to the channel and like this video if you're enjoying the content so far. Share it with a friend who is maybe showing some interest to moving into the area. Reach out with any questions. I always want to preface things that these are kind of big 500 million foot views of the market. We're looking at entire markets in a video. Even in the town of Whitby, each segment is very different from the next. Each neighborhood is very different from the next, each home type. I've been loving having conversations with some of you about your homes and neighborhoods specifically. So please feel free to continue reaching out. All the info, as always, is down below in the description of this video. Comment what you thought. What are you thinking going forward? And until we speak again next time, stay safe and cheers.